Welcome to Motivational Humanity. You are not alone.
Let me ask you something. When was the last time someone looked at you, truly looked at you, and said, "You are enough, exactly as you are, right now"? See, not when you were younger, not when you were thinner, not when you had more energy or fewer wrinkles or a fuller calendar. Right now. If you're watching this, I think part of you is still waiting for that moment. Still wondering if the life you've lived, the sacrifices, the years, the quiet endurance, actually counted for something. And I want to sit with you today, not to fix you, not to tell you to think positive, but to tell you the truth that Brené Brown spent decades of research uncovering. A truth that women your age are almost never told. Your vulnerability is not your weakness. It is the most powerful thing about you. Oh, you've lived through so much. You've held families together when they were falling apart. You've smiled at funerals and laughed at hospital bedsides because someone needed you to be strong. You've shrunk yourself in rooms where your voice deserved to be the loudest. You've put yourself last for so long that you're not even sure what first feels like anymore. And somewhere along the way, maybe in your 40s, maybe your 50s, maybe just last Tuesday, something shifted. The world around you started making you feel like you were fading. Like youth was currency, and yours was running low. The magazines stopped speaking to you. The conversations at family gatherings sometimes felt like they were happening around you, not with you. People started making decisions about your life. What you could handle, what you needed, what was realistic for a woman your age, without ever once asking you. That pain is real. I won't minimize it. But here's what I also know to be true. What you're experiencing right now is not decline. It is not irrelevance. It is a becoming. And Brené Brown's research gives us the language to understand why and how this season of your life might actually be the most honest, the most free, and the most deeply human one yet. Brené Brown has a definition of shame that stopped me cold the first time I heard it. She says shame is the intensely painful feeling that we are flawed and therefore unworthy of love and belonging. Not that we did something bad, that we are something bad. Now think about how many messages you've absorbed over the course of your life about what a woman should look like, how much space she should take up, how loudly she should speak, how much she should want. Be pretty, but not vain. Be confident, but not too much. Age gracefully, but don't age too visibly. Be needed, but never needy. Women in our culture are marinated in shame from childhood. And by the time a woman reaches her 60s, she has often internalized it so deeply that she doesn't even recognize it as shame anymore. She just calls it being realistic. She calls it knowing her place. She calls it, "I'm just a private person." But here's the psychology. Shame thrives in silence and secrecy. It grows in the dark. Brown's research found that the antidote to shame is not toughening up. It's not positive self-talk. It's not pretending the wound isn't there. The antidote is Dyer's empathy. First from others, and then, crucially, from yourself. That means the next time you feel that familiar sting, that voice says you're too old for this, you're too much, you missed your chance. You don't push it down, you look at it. You say, "I see you. I know where you came from, but you are not the truth about me." One woman I read about in Brown's work described it this way. She said, "I spent 60 years trying to earn my worth, and then I realized it was never for sale. It was always mine." So we have a deeply flawed idea about what vulnerability means. Most of us, especially women who were raised to be caretakers, to be strong, to hold things together. We think vulnerability means falling apart. We think it means being weak, exposed, fragile. Brené Brown spent over 20 years studying this, and her finding was almost shocking in its simplicity. Ours of vulnerability is not weakness. It is the birthplace of everything we desperately want: love, belonging, joy, creativity, trust, a sec. You cannot have any of those things without being willing to be seen. Here's the psychology of why this is so hard. Our nervous systems are wired to protect us from rejection. Thousands of years ago, being cast out of the group was a death sentence. So our brains treat social rejection like a physical threat. When we open up, when we say, "I need help," or "I'm lonely," or "I'm scared about getting older," our brain fires the same alarm signals as if we're walking toward danger. So we protect ourselves. We present the version of ourselves that seems capable, together fine. And we wonder why we feel so alone. Here's a small story that illustrates this. Imagine two women, both in their late 60s, both recently retired, both quietly struggling with the loss of identity that retirement can bring. One of them, let's call her Margaret, keeps saying she's fine, busy, grateful, she doesn't want to burden anyone, she posts cheerful photos. Inside, she feels invisible and purposeless. The other one, let's call her Ruth, sits down with her daughter one afternoon and says, and this took everything she had, she says, "Fef, I feel like I've lost myself, and I don't know who I am now that I'm not working." See, that conversation changed everything. Her daughter cried. Then Ruth cried. Then her daughter said, "Mom, I've been afraid of the same thing, and I thought I was supposed to have it figured out." Vulnerability didn't make Ruth weak. It gave her daughter permission to be human too. That is the power Brown is talking about. When you show up as your real, imperfect, feeling self, you give the people around you the greatest gift, permission to do the same. Brené Brown says something about perfectionism that I want you to sit with for a moment. She says perfectionism is not the same as the healthy pursuit of excellence. It is not about growth. It is about earning approval. And she says, and this is the part that might hit close to home, perfectionism is fundamentally about a shame avoidance. We become perfect so that no one can criticize us, so that no one can find the flaw, so that we are above rejection before anyone even has the chance to reject us. Think about the women you know. Maybe you recognize yourself here, who cannot accept a compliment without immediately deflecting it, who apologize before they speak, who volunteer to do everything and then collapse in private from the exhaustion because asking for help feels like admitting failure. That is perfectionism at work, and it is, at its root, an act of fear. Here's what the research tells us about what perfectionism costs. It keeps us in a permanent state of anxiety because the bar keeps moving. It isolates us because no one actually connects with the perfect version of you. They connect with the juror's real version. And it robs us of joy because nothing is ever quite enough. For women in their 50s, 60s, and 70s, perfectionism often shows up in a very specific way. It looks like, I cannot let them see me struggle. I raised my children. I managed this home. I built this career. I cannot now, at this age, admit that I am afraid or confused or heartbroken. But here is the truth Brown's research offers us: the cracks. The places you've been broken. Those are exactly where the light gets in. The woman who sits down across from a younger woman and says, "I've made mistakes. Here's what they taught me." She is not showing weakness. She is showing wisdom. And wisdom, offered with an open hand instead of a clenched fist, is perhaps the most beautiful gift one human being can give another. Here is possibly the most important thing Brené Brown has ever said. She found that true belonging, the kind that heals us, the kind we spend our whole lives looking for, is not the same as fitting in. Fitting in is when we change ourselves to be accepted. Belonging is when we show up as ourselves and are accepted anyway. And then she says this: the most dangerous thing we can do is to compare our insides to other people's outsides. For women in this season of life, that comparison can be brutal. You watch younger women and wonder where the years went. You watch your peers and wonder why their lives seem more settled, more purposeful, more certain. You scroll through images of women your age who look vibrant and curated and full of life, and you think, why don't I feel that way? But here is the psychological reality. Belonging to others is impossible until you belong to yourself. Assess. And belonging to yourself means something very specific. It means you stop outsourcing your sense of worth to other people's opinions. You stop waiting for someone to tell you that you've done enough, been enough, enough. You stop performing the version of yourself that you think the room wants, and you start practicing the radical, terrifying, beautiful act of just being who you are. This doesn't happen in a single moment. It's not a revelation. It's a practice. A daily, imperfect, sometimes failing practice. But every time you tell the truth about what you feel, every time you ask for what you need, every time you look in the mirror and choose curiosity over criticism, you are practicing belonging to yourself. And from that place, real connection with other people becomes possible for the first time. Brené Brown writes about something she calls the midlife unraveling. It usually hits somewhere between 40 and 60, though for many women it arrives right on schedule in their 60s and 70s. Something shifts. Things that used to feel important start to feel hollow. Roles you've played your whole life, mother, wife, professional helper, start to feel like costumes more than identities. Questions start surfacing that you thought you'd already answered. Who am I when I'm not being useful to someone else? What do I actually want? Is this it? Our culture calls this a crisis. It pathologizes it. It hands us medication or tells us to book a vacation or suggests we're just being dramatic. But Brené Brown's research says something completely different. She says this unraveling is not a breakdown. It is a spiritual awakening. The psychologist Carl Jung described the second half of life as the time when the soul begins to ask the questions the first half was too busy to consider. The business of raising children and building careers and managing households. It gives us a sense of purpose, but it can also give us a very convenient excuse to never look too deeply at ourselves. When that business subsides, the deeper self shows up, and what it wants is not a new career or a new wardrobe or a new body. What it wants is authenticity. It wants to know can I be honest about who I am? Can I be honest about what I've felt and what I need and what I've always wanted to say but haven't? Can I stop being what everyone expects me to be and start finding out who I actually am? This is not a crisis. This is an invitation. And the women who walk through that door, not around it, but through it, they find something extraordinary on the other side. They find themselves. I want to leave you with this. There is a particular kind of beauty that only comes with time. Not the beauty that needs perfect light and the right angle. Not the beauty that has to be performed and maintained and anxiously protected. The beauty of a woman who has lived, who has loved people and lost them, who has been afraid and done the thing anyway, who has failed and gotten up not because someone was watching, but because something inside her simply refused to stay down. Brené Brown didn't discover something new when she talked about vulnerability and courage and shame. She put language to something women like you have known in your bones your entire life. You are not too old to begin again. You are not too broken to be whole. You are not too far along to change direction. You are, in fact, at the exact place where real wisdom becomes possible. Where the masks have gotten heavy enough that taking them off feels like relief instead of risk. The world needs the version of you that is done apologizing. The version that takes up her space. The version that tells her truth. Not because she has all the answers, but because she has finally stopped pretending she doesn't have any questions. You are enough. You have always been enough, and it is never, never too late to believe it. Before you go, I want to ask you to do something for me. If any part of this video touched something in you, if something landed or cracked open, or reminded you of a truth you'd been setting aside, I want you to type this in the comments below. I am reclaiming my peace. 3 words. That's it. Because here's what I know about the kind of women who watch videos like this. You don't need someone to fix you. You just need someone to see you. And when you type those words, you're not just telling the algorithm something. You're telling yourself something. You're saying, "Phi matter. My healing matters. I am choosing today to come back to myself, Gafe." And if you know another woman, a sister, a friend, a neighbor, someone in your life who is quietly carrying more than she should, please share this video with her. Because no woman should have to find her way back to herself alone. I'll see you in the next one.